Hey folks, it's Arthur, but my friends call me Archie. This podcast episode is sponsored by you. If you have a more personal situation you want me to give my in-depth commentary on, send me an email. Thanks to all those who keep this channel running. Okay, let's hop right into it. I have a letter. I've already taken out the names here, replaced them with some letters. Let's get right into it. This one says, "Hello Archie. My name is D. I am 27 years old. A few weeks ago, I met this girl named E at a friend's party. From the moment I saw her, I was completely captivated. She's stunningly beautiful, with a smile that lights up the room and an infectious laugh that makes everyone around her feel happy." Oh my goodness, it sounds like quite the girl. But it's not just her looks, she's also incredibly kind, funny, and smart. It's always the classic. It's always kind, funny, smart. Always. Every rom-com you watch, it's always. What do you like about her? She's beautiful, she's funny, she's smart. This is such a classic. Thank you so much for this letter, by the way. Okay. It says, throughout the night, E seemed to be the center of attention. Everyone wanted to talk to her. She effortlessly moved from one conversation to the next, making everyone feel special. I was too nervous to approach her at first, but eventually I gathered the courage to introduce myself. To my surprise, she was really friendly, and we ended up talking for a while. We had a great conversation about our shared interests, and I felt an instant connection. Oh, sounds great. Since then, we've seen each other a couple of times in a group setting, and every time I see her, my feelings for her grow stronger. However, the more I get to know her, the more I feel like she's completely out of my league. Emily has a huge social circle. She always seems to be surrounded by people who are just as attractive and charismatic as she is. I can't help but to feel intimidated and worry that I don't measure up. I have never been particularly confident when it comes to dating, and the thought of asking Emily on a date fills me with dread. I keep second-guessing myself and wondering why she would be interested in someone like me when she could have anyone she wants. Every time I think about making a move, I get scared and convince myself that she would never go for it. I really like Emily and want to get to know her better, but I don't know how to overcome my insecurities and take that next step. I feel like if I don't do something soon, I'll miss my chance with her. She's totally out of my league. Please help me. Thank you for your advice. D. Sincerely, D. Wow, okay, let's get right into this. So, first of all, this is such a poetic letter. I feel like I probably wrote something similar to this when I was like in junior high or something like this, like in my journal or in my diary. I think I used to really write like this so often because, I guess it was in what I was reading, or I had this English teacher that was really great, and she really wanted me to express myself the best way possible, and so I wrote very, kind of poetic. It's poetic mixed with a bit sappy, but I really, really like this style of writing. I think there's something about it that it just is so romantic and passionate. I really enjoy it. So I appreciate this letter, D, and I appreciate you giving me this chance to read it here on the channel. Okay. Have you guys ever read, by any chance, there is this really great German book. It's called The Sorrows of Young Werther. And I think this just reminded me of it a bit. So let me just quickly go over this book, and if you guys don't mind indulging me. So this is written by Goethe, which is like a very famous German writer. And he has this book called, The Sorrows of Young Werther. And so basically what happens is that there's this young man, and he moves to this small town, and he meets this woman. And the woman who he meets, he's like a very passionate person. And I remember reading this book, and like the first part of the book, he's talking about like just the mundane. He's talking about the field and the grass and the sun and the trees And he goes on and on about how it's filled with like God's glory and it's so beautiful and just this very romantic style of writing. And I'm pretty sure this book was written, you guys will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was written probably 200 years ago, like late 1700s or something like this. It's quite, it's quite old. And this book, it emphasizes this, this young man who meets a woman, and before he even meets her, he's already kind of in these ups and downs of life. He'll have this moment of like passion and love for earth, and then immediately the next day he'll have some sorrows and he'll be depressed, and this roller coaster of emotions that I'm pretty sure has defined the youth as long as the youth have been. And so just to appreciate that when a person is young, and it could be young in age or young in their heart, that when a person is feeling this feeling of youth, this is such a common trope, is to have this roller coaster of emotions of, she's so wonderful, but what if I'm not enough? It follows the highs with the very low lows. And so this is very exemplifies a lot of this story. And so Werther meets this woman, and this woman, her name is Charlotte, and so he falls in love with her, and he spends a lot of time with her, but she is engaged to another man. And so Werther is thinking about her for a long time, and he longs to be close to her. And at the end of the book, he is so sorrowful, he's so sad that he won't be able to be with her and that she's with an engaged man, that he ends up taking his life. Okay, so this book was actually banned in Germany for a number of years after, because it promotes this feeling of, if you can't have something, then the only alternative is death, okay? Which I don't think is so healthy. But I want you to see a little bit about how this logic kind of follows, right? That if you can't have this person, then there's no reason to live, right? Like the logic goes as follows: is this person is my reason to live. If I can't have this person, I don't have a reason to live. Very A plus B, very logical, okay? And so what I want to get away from here is turn this logic and give it a bit of a breather, okay? Give it a bit of take a step back, okay? And so when this letter here, when D is describing E, he is mentioning her, and he's talking about how captivated, how beautiful she is, and he mentions that she's kind, funny, and smart, the classics from the rom-coms, okay? And what I want to get at here is that a lot of times we view people as such an idyllic way, okay? And this can be done in Werther, but this is written in all sorts of romance, but it's also written in like these Greek tragedies too, okay? So the one that I'm thinking about in particular is like Poseidon, for example. So I'm pretty sure Medusa is from a romance that Poseidon has. You guys can correct me in the comments if this is wrong. But basically, Medusa is like this very beautiful woman. Aphrodite gets like very upset. She ends up making Medusa into like this terrible looking woman. And so she takes what is so great about her, what is this like ideal, the ideal beauty, the most beautiful, and then it becomes now this like wretched monster. She becomes this wretched monster. And so at first she was idealized. She was put kind of on this pedestal, on this throne. And then immediately after, when her beauty is taken away, she becomes a monster. Okay, so a lot of the times on this channel, what I promote is this complexity, to not reduce something to just one or two dimensions. So a woman, for example, that is very beautiful and that has a lot of attention, a lot of times she gets idealized. There's a huge problem with this. And you guys can experiment this with your friends, I'm sure. You've seen it in the past, where you have a guy that goes up to a girl and he's like feeling very confident or what have you, and he'll say like, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. And then he gets rejected asks for a number, gets rejected immediately, and then, says like, she's the worst, I never want to speak to her again, I don't know why I was so into her, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of this is because was in this ideal state. After the rejection, we take her off the throne, and now she's not ideal anymore and she becomes a monster. But the problem with this is that we're reducing a person to one dimension or two dimensions. A person is so similar to us, and we are multidimensional. We're from different educational backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, etc., etc. And so you take a person and you say, they're very beautiful, and you rank everyone on a scale of beauty. This is one dimension. Okay, well, let's take another factor. We rate them on a scale of beauty and then also on a scale of athleticism. Okay, now that's two dimensions. Now let's rank them on a scale of beauty, athleticism, and academics. That's three dimensions. And so you'll notice that you could at first easily rank people when it was just beauty. And you could, maybe rank people when it was two dimensions, beauty and athleticism. But now when it's three dimensions, beauty, athleticism, and academics, it starts to get a little fuzzier, this ranking system. And as you go more and more dimensional, you'll start to notice that the ranking kind of goes away. Because some people excel a lot in one dimension, but not so much in another dimension. Okay? And so what I want to say with this, the main message, the main takeaway that I want to say with this, is that this is a person and they are multidimensional. And you are a person, and you are multidimensional, right? And when it comes to judgment, you'll notice that you will judge her on a series of dimensions, and she will judge you on a series of dimensions. And any judgment for only one dimension is, by definition, reductive, okay? And so if you want a chance with this girl, my advice to you would be to look inside yourself. Consider that you are a multi-dimensional person that shouldn't just be judged for one thing like your looks, shouldn't just be judged for two things like your looks and athleticism, but should be viewed as multi-dimensional. And as a person gets to know you, they will see how multi-dimensional you are and how you have more things than just one that define you. And the same I would like you to do for her, that you look at this person multi-dimensionally and that you see that there's more than one thing that just defines them. As you do this, you'll start to notice that there's no such thing as leagues, right? Here at the bottom, she says, she's totally out of my league, please help me. As you view someone with more than one dimension, and as you view yourself with more than one dimension, this whole league idea starts to go away. And you'll start to notice that it's a pretty balanced playing field. That people who are very successful in one area usually have some inequalities in other areas. And this is totally normal. This is what it's like to be human. That if you're really, really beautiful, maybe you might not be so empathetic, right? You might lack in empathy. Or if you're really, really empathetic, maybe you're not so beautiful, But that's what I'm trying to say, is that there's balance across dimensions. People are not just amazing across all dimensions. And so this is what I would say to you. I would say that you should use this perspective to become a bit more complex, to be a bit less reductive, and to be able to rationalize within yourself that she's not out of your league. There are really no such things as leagues. And as you do this, I think you will start to notice that your way of evaluating others and your way of evaluating yourself changes, which ultimately makes you a more attractive person, right? Because you become more confident in yourself, knowing that you are complex but wonderful, right? And so this would be my advice. If anyone else has any advice that they would like to leave in the comments, I'd be really appreciative, really would like to read those and see what you think this person should do, how you have managed to see things from a different point of view and not just as a league or something or one-dimensional, and how this has changed the dating for you. Let me know in the comments, and if you have another situation that you'd like me to review or you'd like to write a letter, my email should be just in the description of this video. And write me an email. Let me know what your situation's going through, and let's see if we can have some good discussions and get you on the right track of what you want, where you want to be dating, where you want to be emotionally. Okay? Have a good one.